All right, continuing right along with work on the Mustang here. So Dad is going to be working solo. He's prepping the heads to go to the machine shop. He is going to remove all the valves, unstick the stuck one, then he's going to check the keepers, the rockers, the guides, just to make sure they're all good. And that way when they go to the machine shop, we can actually get them back quicker. You know, it's been beautiful weather, well, except for when Dad actually did the work on the heads here. And we want to get this Mustang out on the road as soon as possible. So Dad's going to work solo and try to power through this stuff because our schedules never match up and I'm never actually able to help, but I can do the editing. So here we go.
It's raining, of course. That's why I'm in here. Anyway, the hot rod's going to get a little bit wet today, but it'll be alright. I'll wipe it off after. Could use a bath anyways, some bugs on the front of it. Back to the Mustang. You can see we got the cylinder heads off. And we got some parts clean. Got the valve covers clean. We got the cylinder heads clean. They've been in the hot tank at work. Just to get all the grease and the grime off of them. I'm going to take these valves out today. If you remember, we had our problem right here in cylinder number 2. As you can see, look at the exhaust valves. Nice golden, 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 and then not so golden. So that tells you right there that that's the cylinder giving you the trouble. No fire in that hole. When you take these, you know, when you take any valve train apart, you kind of want to keep everything together. You want to put it back in the same place you got it from, just for wear and so on and so forth. Obviously, we're not putting that push rod back in there. But I did the same thing here. So, I mean, nothing fancy here. All I did is I got a box, and I got bank 2, bank 1, front of the motor, and then the cylinders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as I take these valves out, I'm just gonna, you know, poke them in the holes, and then that way they will keep everything organized. I marked the cylinder heads, so this is bank 2, left bank, so number 8, and then cylinder number 1. You know, it was running on 7 cylinders, just not 8. And it was the intake valve that was stuck open. We know the valve was stuck in the guide, so we're gonna get that apart and find out why. Obviously, the car had sat for many years. Get it apart. We'll look at the seats, and we'll look at the valves themselves and the guides. Sometimes you want to just take a rubber mallet. Yeah, that one's not moving. Nothing there. Take the rubber mallet and just tap on the retainer, loosen up the keepers in there, because sometimes they stick together. Let's get it up. You got this, it's kind of like a C-clamp, yeah, but it's made obviously for compressing the valve spring. Alright. Always still a little tight. So, as you can see right there, those are your keepers. Don't lose them. I had that a little bit tight. Let's loosen that up. And that was the valve seal. Listen, see the valve seal? Multiple pieces right there. Could be the original valve seals. I mean, look at them. No good. You just keep this all in order as we take it apart. One of the things you want to do is, as you work your valve out, if you go to, you can see the witness mark on the stem. If you open up the valve about as much as you can see the witness mark, and then if you move your valve back and forth, you can see if your guides are worn or so on and so forth. There's a little bit of play there. Obviously there's got to be some clearance. There's a little bit of play there, but we'll check that and measure it. Let's pop this out. Pretty much right there, the shiny spot, that's where the valve is hitting the seat. So that's what we're looking for. Is it hitting it all the way around? Is it nice and shiny all the way around? And then we're going to look in here, same here. See, that's kind of what the valve seal, this one didn't break apart. So that's kind of what it looks like when it's all together. But if I just squeeze this, not too bad, pliable. That other one took a beating though. Obviously the exhaust takes much more of a pounding because it's just, you know, it's hotter. But you can see, not so shiny right there. Now this is our problem child right here. So let's see what happens with this one. We know we're not getting that valve out. Not by hand anyway. Another thing to keep in mind when you're taking these apart, a lot of times there'll be a shim under here. That's for your installed height. So that's your compressed spring at the installed height. These are nothing but stock heads, so from it would probably never. Yeah, that's stuck. That baby's stuck in there. So there'll be no shim more than likely on any of these because this is just a bone stock motor. But that's our problem right there. The valve's stuck. Now machine shops have far better equipment to take these valve springs off. It's pneumatic, you know, they're all air or hydraulic or whatever, but you know, if you're at home, this C-clamp type, that'll work. We're definitely ready for a valve job. No question about that. Go. Get you a closer look. That's underneath the valves in the cylinder head. You can see for the most part, like it's kind of shiny in the head. I mean, they were seating. That's our problem. Can't get that valve out. I'm going to soak that and see if I can free that up a little bit. That's what it's all about right there, you know. I'm going to take this other head apart. Number 2. Once you get your method down, it goes pretty quick. Oh man, sometimes I just don't want to pop. That was a tough one. You gotta remember they've been sitting together since 1970 or 71. You can see why they don't want to come apart. Once you do a valve job, once you grind the valves and grind the seats, well, not as critical. You don't necessarily have to go. They don't necessarily have to go back in the same place, unless, of course, you're going to reuse the same guides. Even if this thing did run good, she would have more than likely consumed some oil with these valve seals being the way they are. So, you know, if you take a look at this, you can see, you know, how dark it is. Not very shiny. Obviously, that's one of the places you'd start to lose compression. the valve, where the valve meets the seat. If it doesn't meet good, you know, you're gonna, on a compression stroke, a little bit of compression is gonna blow by it, you know. Oh. That's all of them out. As you can see, that's what's left of the valve seals. You know what I mean? A pile of junk. So we're gonna clean these up a little bit more. I'm gonna take a good peek at them. I'm gonna try and get that one intake valve out of there. Soak it. See if I can break it down with some carbon choke clean or brake clean or something like that.
Here we go, using some of that brake cleaner to clean out the valve guides and unstick that stuck valve. Also, it's going to help get rid of some of the gum that's been left over the years. Now using a wire brush to brush away all the carbon that's also been built up over the years.
Point out right here is, if you look, you can see that well, right about there. Right about there, you can see that head gasket wasn't sealing too good. And here's your coolant passage. And what I noticed was, when it was running after we shut it off, I noticed there was a lot of pressure on the hoses for the short amount of time that we actually had it running. So if we come over here, that's number 4 cylinder. See that right there. But that's pretty much the same spot right there. So we're going to get that head machined, and we're going to clean up that block, new gasket. Hopefully we're good.
Dad's going to take this wire wheel and brush off all the carbon that's left on each one of the valves over all the years.
We got one head all cleaned up. We got all the valves clean. Got them all lubed up, as you can see. I mean, they just slide in and out now. It's still going to go to the machine shop. They'll dip the head when it's done, but you know, the valves themselves, this was the one that was stuck right here. That was the intake. But it's pretty, I got it nice and free now. Got it cleaned up. You know, it was sitting open for years, you know. Got a little bit of rust and stuck it. They're all nice now. So, well, that's one done. One more to go. One more to go, and then off to the machine shop, and let them touch the valves, touch the seats, plane the heads, and magnaflux them, and then back on. I was looking at these valves, and man, I don't know if you can see, but there's no pitting or nothing on these valves. The valve face, I mean, they look really good. I'm going to lap a couple and just see what happens. Valve grinding compound. Put a little bit of this on the face of the valve there. And you can, just a couple different ways. I use a cordless drill. It's pretty quick. You can do it by hand. Just put a little bit of this on there. Right on the face of the valve. Let's lap a couple and see what happens. They look so good. Move that compound around a little bit. And the drill's turning the valve. Each time you pull that off, you get maybe just a little whisker more compound in there. Take a look, see what it looks like. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It's right in the middle of the valve. And that looks pretty damn good. And that seat looks pretty good too. Let's give it just a little bit more. And I don't think I'll touch these valves. The more I was looking at it, I'm like, man, there's not even any pitting on these exhaust valves. And of course, that's the one that runs the hottest. So that's the one that takes usually the most beating. There's definitely no need to grind the valve. There ain't no need to grind that valve. And I don't see no need to grind that seat either. Unless I run into one that's real bad, I'm gonna just go ahead and lap these valves in. And then we'll go from there. Big day for the Mustang, big day for the heads. Mid-afternoon, time to call it quits for the day, but let's talk about what we did today on this Mustang. All our heads, we got all of the seats, they're all been lapped in, both heads. Heads are all clean. We've got all of our valves. They're all lapped in. Hopefully you can see just how good they look right there. We got our springs separated here. So what do we got left? We got to get these things to the machine shop, and we got to get the head surface planed. Take a little bit off, like we talked about. But I'll have him look at all those seats that I lapped in. Hopefully he likes them as much as I do. But they do look good. They do look good. You know? They look pretty good, and I'm kind of happy with it. But all in all, it was a pretty good day. Couldn't do anything outside because it was raining. So, what I got to do next, though? The poor old hot rod. She had to sit outside today when it was raining. So, looks like I got a little bit of cleaning to do. Hopefully, you know, she's on the road soon. Can't wait to get her down the road.